This conference will now be recorded.
The time being 6:40 p.m., I'd like to call the November 24th, 2020 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board to order. Before we get started, please mute your microphone during the meeting unless you want to speak. Otherwise, background noise will interfere with the meeting. As chair of the Tilton Planning Board, due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically, and these reasons shall be reflected in the minutes. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which is authorized pursuant to the Governor's Emergency Order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we're providing public access to the meeting by telephone. Members of the public wishing to attend this meeting electronically may call the following conference number at 1-866-899-4679. Access code 817-026-717. Additional public access by video or other electronic means will be available as follows. We're using the GoToMeeting platform for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during the meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate remotely using your smartphone, your tablet, or your computer at global GoToMeet.me/town-of-Tilton/planning board. This information can also be found on our website at tiltonnh.org under Meeting, Schedule, and Agendas/planning board. We are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting via telephone conference and by GoToMeeting, and instructions are provided on the Tilton Town website at tiltonnh.org and at the town kiosk. We're providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting that a member of the public wishes to speak or be recognized during any public comment or public hearing. If you're a member of the public listening and have questions, please write your question down. At the end of each agenda item, I will ask if there are any questions from the public before we move on to the next agenda item. Please state your name and address and then ask your question. We are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please email web@tiltonnh.org, which will be monitored during the meeting. We will adjourn the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access a meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at that time. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. With each member states their presence. Also, please state whether there is anyone in the room with you if you're remote during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So we'll start the roll call vote. I'll start. Jane Alden here.
Eric Pyra here.
Frederickson here.
Todd
Odell here, and nobody's with me.
Okay, thank you very much. And last week we did have some technical difficulties, so if you can't get through, we do have someone monitoring tonight, so that should not be a problem. There just were some technical difficulties last week. All right, the first order of business is a public hearing, which is continued from last week. It's Sale View, Inc., case number 20-05, 1015 Laconia Road, map U01-7. It's a proposal to demolish 2 old buildings on the property and excavate and add a grassy area with picnic tables and mobile food trailers 30 to 35 feet long to improve the site. And we have an application before us. If we could take a look at that. Like to make a motion to move the application to the table for perusal.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The sale view from last week.
Oh, I don't think I have that packet because it wasn't the last week.
You done?
No. I read it online when it was there, but I didn't print it.
Here, I can give you mine.
Yeah, I got this.
Here, you can have this. This is the, just give it back to the packet after.
I think we looked at it last week. So do we have any questions on it?
So this is-
Well, they haven't really presented yet, so.
No, I know.
They weren't here, yeah.
So would this be number 7 on this map?
It is, no.
Number,
It is number 7. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Hello? Hello?
hello?
Yes, I'm William McLean.
Hi, William.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but as far as witnessing, I'd like the board to remind them, to remind the board that I handed them a page with eight primary concerns that we had at the Waterside museums, at 1011 Laconia Road.
Yes, William, and we're not ready yet. We're just looking at the application right now. I'll let you know when you can address this, okay?
And one more thing before I mute myself, I don't see any of the, I don't see the video.
Okay,
William, that might be an issue with your internet, if you're using the mic and the video, according to our IT.
Yep.
Director said that it might be at your end with your internet, because we do have video from here.
Okay, I'll check it. Thank you.
okay. All right. Anybody, have you had an opportunity to look at the application? Does it appear to be complete?
We have something that has. I don't have a checklist. Do you have a checklist?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. I may have another one, I don't know.
Yeah, don't we have a regular checklist?
No. I have one, Eric. So I have an extra
I
one
need
here.
to check.
This one?
Well, I feel like there's, yeah, that one. No, that's just, I feel like we're missing a checklist.
Yeah, he didn't do the whole checklist.
Well, how
There
can I,
wasn't a
how
change
can
in
I,
building. There was no buildings to the site. You want it-
there's no buildings to the site, he's demolishing 2
He's
buildings.
demoing the building, not adding buildings, mobile building.
Well, then he's adding mobile food trailers. So he is adding buildings to the site.
No buildings, mobile, right? You want that? Okay.
I-
You want the checklist?
Well, I just want to see, I'm just, I'm concerned about
Let me see if I have.
wetlands.
I don't think there's any wetland delineation.
There's no
He
wetlands.
did just
Yeah,
a
but isn't
hand
there-
drawing.
Right, but doesn't there have to be, what's the distance from the edge of the lake feet?
Yeah, but he's not close to that.
Right, isn't that within 250 feet?
Yeah, but I don't think, not. There's two existing buildings already there.
Doesn't matter, I'm sure DES is gonna have to be notified.
With for a mobile or a food trailer, a portable.
You're disturbing the earth.
For the.
So are you gonna,
Yeah.
Dan, do you have clarification on that?
I'm looking for that.
So there's two existing, so if you know the corner there, so it's the Winnisquam Country Store. We bought that a couple of years ago.
Right.
And right next to it was the old post office that was a motorcycle.
Yeah, then there was the adrenaline shop or whatever it was.
Right, they were repairing motorcycles and snowmobiles there, and they had those all over the property. So we had and there was an old rental trailer on there too. That was grandfathered to be able to use as a rental. So we bought that about a year and a half ago, not sure exactly what we wanted to do with it, looking at different things, whether we wanted to build another little building where we're just fix where the old post office is and do something, maybe sell ice cream out of there or whatever. And then we found the best opportunity, the best thing for us was to remove those two buildings, create a little bit more parking, because there's no parking, there's not much parking there on the street. And a nice little grass area with a couple of picnic tables and a small food trailer, whether it was just portable with a trailer or a food truck to put there. And we would only be using it for the middle of 3 months, the middle of June to the middle of September during the busiest times. We find we're extremely busy in the store and we needed some relief. There's also a dock on the property, and we had discussed it. We had talked with the people that own the condos next to us, and there was some concern of them for us using the dock commercially, to have people come in. Like we have another dock on the other side, and we agreed that would be kind of intrusive for them. So we agreed that we would block that totally off and just keep it as a private dock for us. And that's what we've done. We haven't used the dock as a commercial dock, and we're going to be blocking it off there. So no one that's on the property that's sitting or eating there will have access to that area. So we thought it was the least impact on that whole, the whole thing.
Okay. Leanne, did you find that list of 11 items that Mr. McLean left last week?
Oh, you want that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Janice, you're back.
Can I ask a quick question? So on the mobile food truck, will there be any waste that is going anywhere, or is it going to be self-contained? I think that's kind of important.
Can you wait?
No, it's Todd, that's Todd.
Oh, that's not Todd.
Yeah, that's Todd.
Todd? Is that you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, go on. I'm sorry. I thought it was Mr. McLean. Go on.
I was just asking if there's not going to be any, like a disposal of any of the cooking stuff. It's all going to be self-contained. That was my question.
You're up for either one. So where the mobile trailer
You know
is.
what? Why don't you come and sit with the mic so that in
No,
case
Just a minute,
anyone.
Todd.
Absolutely.
Have we opened this up and accepted the application that's being
We
substantial?
accepted the application. Oh, we haven't accepted the application. Okay, because she brought up the,
Because I'm,
okay, can you wait a minute? Todd, just a minute.
because
Do you have anything from the DES? Is DES is not involved in this because they're not?
They have not requested a DES permit.
but don't they have to?
Where's I gave you this stuff. Can I see?
I mean, we're not, I guess if we put parking in there and we put an impervious area, we will have to probably talk to DES about the putting parking in there. So that's not an issue.
Well, and you'll need a DES permit if you take those buildings down.
Yeah. If it's
Yeah,
a
you'll,
quorum.
if you're doing that, you have to get a
Not
permit.
wetlands, right?
Yeah.
Shoreline
The
protection.
shoreline protection.
I don't
There was
think
a
they're
letter
that
that was
close.
received by the board of
I don't
Selectmen,
think we've
different
gotten to that
property
point.
in that area, because they didn't get plans.
Nope.
No, this is
Oh.
a separate thing where the board of Selectmen got a letter from DES regarding a property, not this property, but in that area.
Yeah.
You talking about Hill Road?
Yeah,
Right.
and
But
I didn't,
that had nothing to do with planning board because that's a residence.
I understand that, but should have been before planning board because again, DES wasn't notified. So
Right,
now
but
I'm trying to
residential-
protect these guys.
Yeah, no, I understand that, Eric. Just on that note, though, I just want to say residential properties don't come before planning. They went to zoning, but that's another issue.
Okay,
But anyway, this is a commercial property, so this is different.
And I don't think that this is within the shoreline protection, is it?
Well, I don't know, that little map I just gave you, can I just see the little drawing they gave you? It wasn't a certified, it was,
this one?
Nope, the hand drawing. Didn't I give you a hand drawing they gave us of how far it is?
Yep. No, I don't have any.
Just give you my-
Could be a sketch with
Well, I got
all
one
the
here. I have one
measurements.
here. I have one here. Let's sketch.
This one here.
The proposed gate, private
Yeah, right
way.
here.
Oh,
What's the distance from? Well, first of all, I thought this was gonna be undisturbed. I didn't know, this is all gonna be paved in here?
Well, we can't, we're not gonna pave it. I don't think we were talking just about cleaning it up with ledge path or something.
Well, that's,
Not
But
paving.
then you have to go,
then you have
you
to,
have
I
to go
mean,
to
Yeah,
DES.
I don't think we have an issue with that. No one's ever brought it up. I don't even, it's not even an issue.
well, I'm just trying, I'm trying to protect you too. I'm
Yeah.
trying to protect the water.
Yeah, that's fine, whatever we gotta do.
And I just, I feel like I don't have a drainage plan. I don't know, and I'm not trying to make this
Difficult for you.
difficult, but, you know, that's just those.
Because we have, there's two, we can keep its current use and do the commercial building that was the Adrenaline Motorsports and open that back up and repair it and rent it out or use it ourselves. We can do that. And that's within our rights to do that. There's also a rental trailer that's grandfathered on there and we could keep that and put another one on there and rent it out to people and they can use the dock and the little beach out there and we can do that. So we're just trying to look at, we were trying to look at the best overall thing that's going to have the least impact and try to give a nice, clean up that whole area. If you remember how horrible that whole area was. So we fixed up the store, you know, as best we could. And then that whole area, we want to just clean it up, put a nice park kind of feel with some picnic tables and some sitting areas and block off the beach and block off the dock so it protects the condo, the people that are in the condo, so that's the least amount of impact. And basically have a little area that people can come and sit, enjoy their sandwiches or just relax. And it's only going to be impact for the use 3 months a year from June 15th to September 15th. I mean, that's.
And it's paved now.
It's paved now, all of them.
Now, but you just mentioned that you're gonna be putting in.
Right.
Well, we could leave the pavement that's already there. I mean, we could do
Well,
that.
what I'm trying to figure out what you're gonna do. And because, you know, there's.
If you require us to get it.
Yeah, whatever you need, whatever you
I don't know if it's required, because I've got my checklist here.
Okay.
Let me get you a copy of the checklist.
Yeah.
So let us get the checklist, but it's to protect you. It's not,
Sure, no.
I hate to see DES come down and throw the hammer at you and make an example of you.
We
You
do.
know, I'm
Can
sure
I
you
ask
develop.
a couple of questions? Can you have a pause?
It's not.
no,
open to the
because we
public.
haven't opened it to the public yet,
We
okay?
haven't even accepted the application yet as being substantially complete. I keep looking at number 10.
Why are you looking?
Because it just, my eyes just go to
Number 7.
that.
So I met with Leah and she gave me.
I'm just saying, I'm getting a lot of feedback. It's very hard to hear.
Are you on mute?
I was on mute. I just opened it back up, but it's very hard to hear.
Not all callers, Jane, are on mute.
Can we mute everyone except for Todd?
Yes, I can do that. When you ask for callers to speak, you'll have to remind them to unmute themselves. I'll do that now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't think it-
All right, I'm gonna destroy our hard work.
Here, you can look at this.
Well, I'm just trying to get my bearings straight with this.
Got it?
So if I go like this. This is the 5 existing parking spots where the 112 is here. Existing store, and then that's grass, okay.
Well, I agree with Eric. At a minimum, you need to have them go to DES, or whatever it is.
Well,
I don't think that it's necessary, but, well,
What I'm not seeing, unless I'm missing a page, where the existing trailers were.
have you got the map?
I've got the proposed map.
do you have the
The aerial,
aerial that says Town of Tilton in the top left corner and
CAI Technologies, do you have that?
No, I don't have that. I'm sorry.
I can send it to, Todd, if you go online under the Tilton NH website and go to the GIS, you can find it. If you just
Okay.
click on, go to GIS parcels and just put in the 65,
11,
11,
15, Laconia Road. Okay, right, 10, 15.
10, 15 Laconia Road,
Laconia
type that in
Road.
your search and you'll come up with the aerial.
Okay. I will try and take a look at that right now.
And it's parcel 7.
Okay.
Or is it easier, Todd, for me to email it to you so you can see it? Let me do that.
And you say the parking's pavement right now?
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
well, there's parking that's paved, but then you're talking about ledge pack or pavement, so you are talking about doing some type
Yeah,
of
it's
excavation.
eventually, I mean, if
Well,
we have
in
to.
your description here, it says then we will excavate to add grass.
Yep.
area. So you are gonna be doing something, and I'm just concerned about, and I'm one, I'm one.
There's already grass there. We're gonna put grass where the grass is. And, we gotta excavate the 2 existing buildings. Within those existing buildings, there is pavement in front of those, in those 2 buildings. There's pavement in front of those, as well as the 5 parking spots that are along the road.
So it
So what
actually might be a resurfacing.
Yeah, we could do that too. I mean, we could use the existing parking and not do anything other than where the existing parking is too. That's fine. That's fine too. I mean, we can work, I mean, there's a lot of different options with that piece there that we can figure out. We were just looking at cleaning it up, being able to put a few extra parking spots in there, employees or whatever, a few extra parking spots, and then clean it up so people have just so people have a nice place to sit, and then have a little food trailer. Really, it's going to be used mostly, it's just from on the weekends. I mean, it's going to be, we'll see. It's because that's when we need the overflow from the store. It's just too busy, and we want to do ice cream, so we want to have a place to do that. We don't have any room in the store.
It seems to me, is this board looking at requesting a certified plan for this? Is this where you're leaning, Eric? I think if that's what you're doing, that's where you should.
Again, I'm trying not to make it difficult, but I'm worried about the lake. I'm worried about them.
If we use the existing, I'm just talking out loud now, trying to figure it out myself, right? What we need, if we use the existing parking that's there right now, and we excavate the building, so the exact footprint that's right now, and we disturb nothing else in terms of parking, then there's grass already there. So when he says excavate, he meant excavate the existing buildings. It's not, we're not digging up any, we're just going to clean up the grass, plant some grass, and clean up that area. Remove the 2 buildings. We could keep the existing parking for parking. And so we would actually use the exact footprint that's there now. We would change nothing except remove the 2 old buildings. Where the parking is now is where the parking would be. And then we would place a food trailer, in a nice spot that looks good and it's out of the way, to do a little overflow for us on the ice cream.
Well, in your site plan description here,
Yeah.
you're right, these will, the A and B, which is the old post office and a dilapidated mobile home, these will be demolished.
Correct.
Then 4 or 5 lines later, then we will excavate to add a grass area for picnic tables and a food trailer that will be approximately 30 to 35 feet long and mobile.
So really, we wouldn't be excavating, if there's already grass there, we would just basically, we'd be mowing it and putting some seed down. I mean, there's really no excavation. The excavation is really the trailers, is the trailer and the existing post office. That's the excavation part.
So
But that's
demo.
not excavation,
So
that's
demo.
just removal.
It's raising demo, yeah. And then we would place the food, the food trailer, probably right on the footprint. I'm guessing where the mobile home is right now. The mobile home is right there, and the mobile home's much larger than the food trailer. So we would be putting the food trailer probably right on the footprint of the mobile home. So we would, in a sense, we would be disturbing nothing.
You said there'll be 30 to 35 feet long, so.
Well, that's the maximum. We wanted to be, it could be small. They make them 20, 25 too, but we were just looking at potentially having one big enough so we could do a cooking area and then also doing an ice cream area. So we wanted to just make sure we had enough space. The mobile home that's there now is probably 40 or 50 feet. Yeah. And so, so it'll be smaller than the footprint that's there now for the mobile.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking, location and proposed, location, size, shape, size, and surface treatment of proposed structures and existing structures. Location of proposed structures. I have a sketch.
Yeah.
There's no structures that are mentioned on this sketch that includes a food trailer.
Right here, a copy of this one?
Yeah, but it doesn't, it's not on my copy.
Let me see.
Take this.
Can I see that copy? I'm the one that drew it. It should have a copy
that one
of
has
where
a
we were
picture.
putting the proposed trail. It should have. It's on there. Yeah.
It was chopped off.
Oh, it's chopped off.
Oh, okay, you go.
Well, I'm trying to look at the whole picture and I get half of it.
Basically, you have a dilapidated trail.
Like, I get that, but I have to go by, we have a site plan checklist and I'm trying to determine if I have a completed
I
plan.
don't think it's a big deal if we have to go to DES.
But I don't think, but honestly.
Probably not necessary.
It could be,
It could be,
it
yeah,
could be a
But what I'm
very
thinking is,
complicated plan.
if we use everything in the existing footprint and
Then
we're not doing anything. And we can do that. That's not a big deal.
Because then you have pollution control,
Well, I think the word that tricks us up is the excavate.
Right. Well, that would be Doug.
Well, you do have to have an excavator. Excavate the building off of the property.
I couldn't figure out why you add excavate to add grass, but
He's trying to be fancy.
but still, I still don't see where it disturbs in any way the lake area.
It's not that it disturbs,
Just so many feet.
it's so many feet.
Yeah,
It's 250 feet within the wetlands, and I can't see if we're within 250 feet or not. Because the only reason why I say that is because the property touches the lake too. So I don't know, like if that little tongue
Like
there.
this you're talking about, this touches the
No,
lake.
no,
Yeah.
this comes out and touches the
right
lake.
there.
And I don't know, but again, it's not identified in anything because it's a drawing.
Right.
Leanne,
That's
am I wrong that the state has to come into play with this?
Yeah, they would have to go through shoreline protection even to excavate those buildings. I'd have to see how many feet they are away, but they would have to contact shoreline protection, even if shoreline
Right.
protection's there. Yeah, anytime you
But
work.
just
Because
so
we don't know
I
how many
understand,
feet.
because I don't know, right? So if we rebuilt the commercial building, we rebuilt it in kind, and we fixed up the mobile home, and there would be no, there's nothing, because it's all grandfathered in and there's nothing, everything is fine. There's not, because we're not changing anything. So we can fix.
In your
with our-
footprint, right, in your
we
existing
can fix
footprint.
it. And so all we're doing is exactly that, except we're going within the same footprint. And we're just removing the old structures and just adding a rolling, food trailer that's on wheels. I mean, but I understand what you're saying. We'll do it, whatever you tell us to do, of course. But I'm just trying to wrap my head around that we can rebuild these two buildings in kind without any permits, because we have our right to do that, rent it out, and but we can't remove them under the exact footprint and put a food trailer that's on wheels, that's smaller than the existing trailer that's there now, but that we can't do. I'm just trying to understand, that's all.
So I still have the question on how you're going to dispose all of the waste that comes out of that food truck.
Well,
Yeah,
there's-
so there's sorry, Dave,
Yeah, go ahead.
So the only waste that would be coming out of there is either the trash that would be bagged up and thrown in the dumpster, or a hand washing gray, sink. So and that I was going to ask you what you preferred, because there's existing septic now that we're paying for that's on the property, so we can tie the gray, the water, just a hand washing sink, we can tie that into the existing septic that's there for the mobile home that's there. We can tie that in. It's town water, and the only other waste is trash, and that of course would be removed and put in the dumpster.
Yeah, but we're getting to the site plan, I think, Madam Chairman.
No, we aren't. We haven't.
We haven't even,
We haven't approved that.
we haven't approved whether the application is, Todd, do you have any input on the application, if it's complete or not?
Well, my question was about the whole thing was like, it was supposed to be mobile, but if it's going to be a permanent thing, disposing everything, then it's not mobile anymore. So it's
So at that, we keep it within the holding tanks in the trailer, and then we can dispose of it, ourselves. That's fine too, because all those mobile truck vehicles, all those mobile food vehicles have everything self-contained. They have fresh water and waste, and the only thing that you need in there is a hand washing sink and something to wash, the
Right.
dishes. And that's it. So we can keep it completely contained, which is fine, because it doesn't really matter to us either way.
Yeah, I understand. I'm totally not against it at all. I'm just trying to make sure that everything fits the guidelines.
I understand.
We kind of replicated it off of we went to visit a site up in Plymouth that the common man that Alex Ray had done, and he has an ice cream van truck that's mobile up there I don't know if you've ever been there, it's up on one of the exits up in Plymouth.
I've been there.
Yeah, and he has it set up really nice. He has some picnic table pavilions. He has
But that's different, because that's in front of the building.
Yeah.
Okay, that's across the front. He has his setup, so it in no way, shape, form encroaches on the shoreline at all.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that's really not, it's the same idea, but it's not at all the same layout.
Mm-hmm.
So there are activities, I'm just looking on the DES website for shoreline, and I mean, there are activities that don't require shoreline permit,
No,
but
but I'm looking at this and trying to figure out if our site plan application
has enough information.
has enough information.
Yeah.
And I'm missing on this, I'm missing existing buildings to see where things are. So I can look at this picture and say, you know, I don't know, where does this building sit? And then I'm worried about, I don't know if there's any drainage, and I don't know where exactly the pavement is on this to compare it to this, because I have a tree in the middle of this picture.
And we don't know the distance from the water.
No, we don't know.
Yeah, but that's just for me worrying about, yeah.
You did ask me that question, and I agree with you. I think that is not complete.
I think that we need to have,
I think we need more information on it.
okay,
Yeah, I think we,
because we don't know. I mean, and this doesn't show what's coming out and what's
Well,
going in.
originally, when I came in and I talked to you, you know, we were told we didn't need a site plan right now to do a detailed plan or whatever, and that's what we did.
Right, well, I didn't much to spend money on engineering plans until we saw what you were going
Right.
to do, and that's
Yeah.
why. So now that's why, they can either require you to have engineered plans, survey plans, or something more detailed of existing versus new. I mean, that's what the board will
even
decide.
if we had like an overlay that showed what's existing there and what you're gonna propose.
I mean, I guess, why does it matter what's existing? It's getting torn down. And you've got the.
Because I can't see, on this, the building doesn't exist, so I don't know where, because I'm assuming that where the building is,
I can. draw what you want.
Well,
We need it to scale. We need, you know, more detail than we've done in this. That's the whole thing. Because we don't know how close you are to the water, how close the buildings are gonna be to the water.
Got a question for you.
Mhm.
Just curious. Now I get everybody here, this is great. So we can just do what we have there. We can build up the post office, rent it out. We can put another, fix up a mobile home, rent it out. We have no issue because it's grandfathered. We have 5 parking spots in the front that are our spots. I mean, can we just put our food trailer there, fix up the rest of it, rent it out, put our food trailer at the existing spots, and then we don't need to do anything else?
Peddlers, right?
It's our 5 spots. Can we just put the food trailer there? And it's, like you said, it's in front now. It's not anywhere near, it's on.
Well, where are you gonna put it in front? You're gonna put it in that front of that lot? Are you gonna?
It's not, well, it's our 5
The
parking
parking area.
spots.
Right,
It's our
put it
5
in the
parking,
park.
it's our 5 parking spots. We put the food trailer right there. It's right by the street. It's based in the street. It's right there. That, that might be an option too. And that way we can fix up the rental trailer. We'll rent it out. People can, they can use the beach and the docks, and we can fix up the commercial building, and we can get a tenant in there, and we can rent that out too. I mean, so that's an option too for us. We're just thinking about how we can clean it up and make it simple, and the least impact is what we were trying to do.
I guess too, monetarily, does it make sense for us to hire a surveyor, hire somebody to do an architectural plan to put a cheeseburger truck
On a
Yes.
spot that's smaller than what's
Or do
already
we
there.
just-
But I understand what you're saying. So,
well, the other thing is, according to this, it's gonna be ledge cap or pavement. So again,
but if we said we would
is
only
it gonna,
keep
is
it
it gonna
within the.
affect drainage, and where's that gonna
But if
drain
we said,
into?
we only would keep it on the existing floor plan that's right now in pavement, and we don't disturb anything else, it's already there, it's already, then we will still have plenty of room to put the trailer where the existing mobile home is. That'll be removed. There's already paved all in that area. That's actually connected to the little building that's across the way. And we would put the food trailer in the exact spot where the mobile home would be. So we would, in a sense, not be affecting, we wouldn't be disturbing anything else, nothing.
Well, I always get nervous with the word grandfather, so.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know what else to say except.
No, I know, but it's, I always say, I don't know if something's grandfathered, it's not.
I
You
mean,
know, I've learned one thing in being on this board for, I don't know, 7 years or 8 years is, you know, you
Well,
think
the
something.
question is what are you guys gonna be happy with? Because you said this was enough and then.
Well, I'd like to, I just want to see
Survey
more,
and-
I just want to see, I don't know if it has to be surveyed, I just want to see, I just need to see, for me, I'm one of 5 people or 4
Yeah.
people that are here
So the
tonight.
distance to the lake is on there. You can see where the lake is and then you can see where
The distance to the lake is not on here.
No,
Not
it's
on
not.
that. That's not my paper. I didn't.
No, that's just
turn
that's
that.
just a-
On
but
my
I-
plan, if you look, I've got measurements of my boundary lines and you can.
But it doesn't tell me where the lake is, because this right here is, if that's your dock and that's the water right there.
No, that's not the dock. That's the,
Can you
that's
show-
the right
can you-
of way.
can you show me?
But when I look at this plan, on a picture of the property, there's a long, narrow stretch.
Right, that's a right of way. That's land that we own that goes down to the water.
Right, and it goes, and I'm assuming to this dock that looks like it has a little dinghy right there.
Right here.
Yeah, but I don't know how many feet that is, because if I look at this as 117 feet right here, right? They kind of look the same, but if on your drawing, they're not the same.
Well, yeah.
It's not the scale, and I just need to,
That's what, that's
So
what.
you
I
want
want
to,
to
see
know.
so what you want to see is what the existing buildings are right now,
right,
exactly where they are on the property, and then where we're going to be putting the new.
just like an overlay, if you could, you know, something that just says, those full.
Well, the town, before we do that though, the town shouldn't be concerned with the waterfront protection area. I mean, if you want a different application filled out, then we'll do that, but we're not here to get permission for waterfront protection from the town.
Right.
That's a DES.
And I don't know if you need it, I just,
Right, so I don't think our application should be denied this application because they want to know where the distance to the lake is, because that's irrelevant. Is the use that we're intending to do a use that's allowed on that land? And then if we're required to get something from DES, we can go and fill out an application, to get that.
well, we have to determine if we have enough information to accept the application.
Right.
And,
But what I'm saying is one of your criteria is to accept the application isn't shoreline protection, is it?
it is not, from what I can
That's
tell
my
on
point.
here.
No,
It's the use that we're trying to
exactly.
apply for.
Right.
So if you want to make that a criteria for us to go get that, I don't think.
No, I think that would probably be down the line, if there was a site plan
Yeah, exactly.
approval,
Right.
you'd be looking at that.
So I guess, can you accept the application, discuss it, talk about
And then-
what
and
the
then we can- and then
neighbors
send us out
think,
for some homework.
and then send us out.
I mean, we
to
would
go
really
get-
appreciate, so we could, you know, kind of. You know, whatever you give us for homework, we'll be happy to do, of course.
Then that way we can find out what are the neighbors' questions, what are their
We can
concerns.
we can-
Well,
Maybe we don't even,
we
maybe we
already-
don't even want to do this after
Yeah.
that. You know, I don't know.
It was just a simple thing for us,
Yeah.
but I mean, we'd like to, if we could, at least like Doug says, get the process moving and talk about the use. And then whatever you, I mean, you're not going to approve anything tonight, of course, and then whatever you needed for extra information, we'll be happy to.
Right, like can the application be accepted contingent upon us supplying and more detail?
Yeah, which we'll be happy to do. We can do that tomorrow. We'll measure it out and draw. That's all. I mean, it'll take us 15 minutes to draw those 2 buildings.
We can probably do something right on Google Earth and have the.
Yeah, but this is Google Earth,
Yeah.
there's trees over it, and I can't.
So we can definitely take that. And I know exactly what you're looking to do, so you can get a better visual of where everything.
And there was discussion too of eventually the trees and stuff too, so.
Oh, yeah, there's some pine trees that are actually right on the line that we're gonna remove at our expense, and typically there would be.
We had an arborist come and look and talked about cutting, because there's some huge pine trees that are actually very intrusive to the neighbors. And we agreed that we would cut them down and take on that expense, and the arborist said we were well within the area to cut those, so.
Right.
I don't think that where we're at is a shoreline issue, but.
Okay, Todd, do you have any more questions, or do you feel comfortable approving the application?
There's so much feedback, it's very hard to hear. all I can say is that I don't think anybody's trying to hold them up. They just want a full, complete application. That's all.
Correct. Are you satisfied that it's complete with the exception of something that we wouldn't be doing right now anyway, would be something down the pipe, but they would have to get involved with DES?
But I know exactly what this gentleman was asking. We'll superimpose the exact
Yeah.
existing building so you know
Yeah,
exactly
because
what
we
it was.
can't look at this. This is Google,
Right.
and it looks like there's very little paving, and you're indicating there's more paving than shows here.
Well, whatever the
You know,
existing areas are.
We
with
can
the
get
building.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll draw that up.
Fred, do you have any questions? Are you comfortable approving the application?
In terms of everything that I see, I'm comfortable with it, as long as they're able to supply the more detailed map.
Maybe they can provide some photos as well. of
Sure,
what
yeah,
the
let's
existing
take pictures
is.
and do all that. I know exactly.
Well,
what you're doing.
I'm familiar with the property, but even so, it's hard for me to
I
sit
understand.
here and
Yep.
look at
Yeah, we'll
this.
take,
And,
we'll,
and
we'll make it
trust me,
much-
we don't want to get fined by DES.
we'll make it much clearer for you,
Okay,
so I understand.
are you comfortable?
To accept it, but I don't know if we can go much beyond that, just because I would have questions about drainage, and I have, I need, for me, I'm one of 7 people, or how many ever people. on the
What
board.
kind
You're
of
6, but
information
you're
do
only.
I just want to see if there, where, how does this flow when it rains? I mean, I can't see this right of way. Again, it's the trees that are blocking.
Again, I don't think the town should be worried about flow into the lake and all that. That's DES.
Well,
No,
No,
it's
that's
us.
planning.
Oh, you do
It's
have that
planning.
too? Okay.
There's no, what's existing there now, there's no wet, there's no
But-
soft or wet or
But
anything
when,
like that.
if on this, you say ledge path.
But but based on your conversation today, I'm saying, we'll not do the ledge pack and we'll only use the existing, the earth has been disturbed now with the pavement and the buildings is exactly the space we will use. We won't dig into anything else, and that's fine.
Well, and I think would be helpful, Eric, right, is you could see what is existing of that paving.
And we
Because
can't.
Again,
That's-
it's
Yeah.
the
We
existing
can
versus the
provide
change.
pictures.
We'd be happy to, but at least we can move the process along and get some questions. We'd like to hear what the neighbors or issues are, and so just so
And
we
we
can.
had, and one of your, and a condo associate, are you still on the line?
Yes, he's talking.
Yes, I am, William McLean, and I
Okay,
do have a number of issues.
okay, but we're not ready for that just yet. We haven't approved the application yet. We're debating
hope-
about. So what we need is,
Yeah.
okay,
She's not ready for that. She just knows that you're still there.
But if you go with the application, how are you then going to rescind it with the public speaking?
I think you're approving.
Well, so, I'm sorry, what was your
I'm
name?
sorry.
Mr. McLean, was that your name?
Yes.
So, Mr. McLean, what it is it's a 2-step process, if you will. The first step is the planning board receives an application, and that application has all the information that we have. And we could either accept the application to be substantially complete, or we can say it needs more information. The next step would be to receive public input, to receive planning board input, and then the applicant can reject or deny, or not reject or deny,
We're not-
reject or accept, but accept the suggestions that are made, and the planning board can take into consideration everything that's said and put conditions on approval, and then give final site plan approval. So it's a two. So we're not even at
anywhere
that part.
close to that,
We're not.
okay?
We're an hour into the
Okay.
project.
I would like to say just one thing, and then I'll shut up for a minute. Those
That's-
parking lots that are being spoken about are town property, because the road was supposed to be 2-way. That's town parking spaces.
Actually, you're incorrect.
Well, we can't.
No,
Parts
that's
of
something
that
that
are
we,
town
that's something that we can determine later. We don't need to get involved in that right now, okay?
Okay,
Yeah, that goes in the site plan.
If you would like, I can get the applicant as well. The comments that were made at the last meeting, we have in writing, so that it is concerns that you might
Oh, that'd be great.
address. So we'll
Yeah,
provide that to
we've
you.
been I thought we've been excellent neighbors with them, and we've always tried.
Well, they have 11. I think you have them there. They have your
sorry.
11 points, Mr. McLean.
Just, and not for discussion now, just so. you
We
can
just
have-
gave them, we can look at those and be ready to address them next time.
okay, thank you.
Eric, I think you're right. I think you
Continue it until,
continue and have them come back with their plan so you can find it complete and then. move
Yeah,
on. It doesn't mean that, because you start your 60-day clock once you start finding complete. So
okay?
So this doesn't start their 60-day clock, right?
this does not, it's
Yeah.
not complete.
This
Right.
has not started your
So you may
60-day
just-
clock. So
If you just make it clear what you want.
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to continue this until the next time we meet, which is,
December
I don't know. Hold on.
wait a minute, we got a
9th,
10th?
10th.
Maybe.
10th, I believe.
Well, that was this month.
Wait,
8th.
Whatever the Tuesday, whatever the, yeah, the first, the 8th, yeah.
The
The
8th.
first is a Tuesday, so the 8th is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
December 8th.
December 8th. And we'd like to have more detail
To
and
scale,
try to superimpose what's going to be
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
and at least take pictures so we can see what's there now.
Yeah.
Because it looks like now there's a huge piece of land with just a little bit of pavement. And if you're talking about a lot of parking, there's gotta be more pavement than that, okay?
All right, this is a question for Tim Pearson. Are you there, Tim?
I don't think-
Tim, you still downstairs?
Maybe not. So I guess my question is because I'm pretty sure next time we're gonna be fully remote.
We will be.
So will those pictures be able to be shown?
Yes.
on the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
electronic?
Absolutely. We did it with Honda, remember? We
Yeah,
had all that.
well, I wasn't sure whose computer on someone else's computer I thought when we switched over that. And the engineer was like showing us things. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if they send you the pictures.
Yeah, if I get all his stuff, I can upload it.
Okay.
So, and I can
Okay.
scan and get it to you electronically.
That's just-
So just to be clear for the applicant,
Yeah.
and then, so we know what we're looking for.
I'm
Do you
gonna
want
second
something?
that. I'll second that.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
all in favor? Roll call, Alden, yes?
Frederickson, yes.
Tyra, yes?
Todd,
Odell, yes.
okay.
Okay,
Yes,
so you would like to see an existing plan drawn, not by a surveyor, to scale
right.
with everything existing on the property. And you want to see
And then
the
a
proposed
to
the same
scale.
way to scale.
And then, do you guys currently have any drainage on site, like, drainage to the street, like anything like that?
I'll have to take a look.
I don't think.
If you can, yeah, Mark,
I'll take a look and see what it is.
You
I know
must
they fixed the whole, you guys fixed all that drainage because it was a big problem and it drained down and everything now runs down. There's a big drain now in front of the store. So that all drains there.
And I-
No,
and I
again, we
think-
have no water issue.
And I think there is a little piece of town property. Okay,
Right in front of
we
us.
need,
Where the sign is.
yeah, let us see where that is too.
Great.
Because that's gonna come up.
Yep, I understand.
It's already come up by somebody in town
Well,
before,
once
so.
before, when we had a meeting,
Yeah.
the town was gonna go in there and take that piece out.
Well, that's
But they
why,
didn't want to.
that's why I know about it, was because I was at some of those meetings with the
Right.
selectmen.
So we'll draw all that. I know
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, and just see if you can get that to me as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll have it to you early next week.
and you may even be able to go online and get a piece of software someplace on, or some site that
Yeah.
can help you with this to scale,
Yeah,
Sure.
okay?
And you have the questions that were raised or the issues by a butter.
Yeah, we'll have the
You can be
answer.
prepared for that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer them now.
Do you- Why don't you give them a blank one of the applications so they can look at the
Where's
other?
this checklist that you talked
It
about?
was
Well, that's
attached
what-
to your application.
But it's more than just a few pages.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about.
Janice is gonna get you another application.
And Janet's gonna get it for you. Janice is gonna get it because that's what's happening. You didn't see it. And apparently you were either told that it wasn't applicable to you.
Right.
But those are things that we may be looking at, that even though, and it may come up, but it isn't applicable to you, but you need to be in a position to answer that for us.
Okay.
Okay?
Great, Madam Chair. Is it worth having them change their verbiage for excavate? And their
Well,
package?
yes.
I do have the original plan that they
Yeah,
gave.
what we're gonna do is, we're gonna go and look over everything and think, and then we'll, in detail, we'll make our presentation to you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Nope, I understand totally.
But you understand, for instance, that word excavate, why
I
that,
do, I do.
that's a red flag,
I understand.
gonna dig a
So
grave.
we're gonna figure out
whatever.
exactly what we can do and what we're looking to do, and we'll present that.
Okay, all right,
Madam Chair,
yes,
if I could just say something just on regarding DES for them, that would be just helpful so they don't run into obstacles.
yes,
The DES actually, not the town, has the jurisdiction over the shoreline. So it's always a good idea to double check with them. They'll help you out with it. And in the past, I've found that sometimes people do things and then DES finds out about it and they actually will fine you and then charge engineering fees to fix it and all that. So it's always a good idea to double check with DES and make sure that, so it doesn't, hit you real hard in the end.
good point, John.
Will we go?
Yeah, and they'll
That-
tell you if you don't need a permit. They'll say it doesn't impact or it does. So
Yeah.
that's-
Great.
I mean,
There's no
they-
Thank you, John.
You can explain to them, they'll tell you right off,
Great. Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah, we've always just tried to do the right thing over there, so
All right.
that's easy. That's easy.
okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
I think it's because you get these blank pages in it. I think so. Here's, you know what it is? It's this. They're out of order.
All right, our next case is, just a minute, I somewhere lost my agenda. Too many papers here.
It goes like this. This is what Eric was looking for. It wasn't in the right order. It's this.
I need the agenda. so
I have it right here.
Okay. All right, the next case is a public hearing for Fireworks of Tilton LLC, Planning Board Case 20-06, 47 Tilton Road, map R23-25, the Regional Commercial District, and it's a proposal of a new site plan for the temporary storage of consumer fireworks. Total of 10 shipping-style containers to be placed on the property. They're 5 to 20 feet and 5 to 40 feet. Going to be used in lieu of semi-trailers. So we need, again, to go over the application just like we did with the prior client. So do you have a copy of that, Eric?
I do.
Okay.
So
Need to review this.
My finger liquor,
Do you have a copy of it, Todd? Todd?
Todd, are you there?
Todd?
I have a copy of it. Sorry. I was
Okay,
just trying to everything.
okay.
Right out on the kitchen table. It's right here. It's, the cover line is
This it
from
right
Carter
here.
Your Truth.
This here,
I think so.
yeah, I got it, never mind.
It's proposed site plan. Four side trailers. Park on the side.
The application seems complete.
I'll second that as a motion.
Any discussion?
Todd made the,
Todd did. All in favor?
Did you second, Eric?
I seconded.
Roll call vote. Alden, yes.
Patrick Selling, yes.
Eric Carter, yes.
Todd?
Yes.
All right,
Oh, I gotta change my Google map view.
all right. Would like to come up and make a presentation or sit there and make a presentation?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Chris Wyman. I'm a consultant representing the Cartier Group, and we're working with Fireworks at Tilton actually on this modification to their current site, already approved site plan. So as you guys may remember, about 5 to 6 years ago, Fireworks at Tilton came forward and requested that they have a site plan modification for the addition of 4 approximately 53-foot semi-tractor-trailer style trailers to be parked on the property on a temporary basis for the seasonal storage of consumer fireworks. Fireworks at Tilton this year is looking to increase their capacity, so they contracted with the Cartier Group to take a look at what we could do to help them out with that. Based on state fire codes, building code requirements, and everything, we were able to come up with a change from 4 shipping container, 4 tractor trailer style containers to 10 shipping style containers, which are smaller in size. So it would be 5 20-foot long containers and 5 40-foot long containers. And it would also be looking with some of the documents we provided was some enhanced security for the property, just identifying fire department access. And really the only thing that'd be going on at the property would just be the leveling of the ground, because it's a little uneven to level out 10 shipping containers. Some of the benefits of the project that we got put forward so you guys can know. So if you're looking at the property from Tilton Road, the profile with the shipping containers, because the grade from the parking lot actually slopes down towards the river. So your overall height profile is going to change a little bit with the shipping containers. It's going to go down, so you won't see as much. Overall security for the property is going to enhance a little bit because we're also looking to put in 2 light stanchions to provide a lit area back there, so it wouldn't be in the dark when the shipping containers are in place. The loading and unloading of this product would no longer occur in its current form. It actually occurs in the parking lot itself. So with this change, the opening of the shipping containers actually faces the river versus faces the parking lot. So all your loading and unloading of the product out of the storage area would be not on the public side of the parking area. So it actually is a little bit of benefit there. We're also providing maintained fire department access, and when we gave you some established daily operational procedures in an emergency response plan to benefit the Tilton Northfield Fire Department should something arise. But that in essence is an overview of the project that we're looking at.
So in essence, you've got approval from the Tilton Northfield Fire Department.
That is correct, I believe.
And you should have a letter in the, we got from the email that we got, there is a letter from Tim Joubert saying what needs to be done. You should have gotten that.
Yeah, there is a site plan
It
approval
says site plan approval.
dated 11/2.
Yeah, it's Tilton Northfield
Okay.
Fire. You have a copy of that?
Yep, I do see that. Yep. So are you changing the grade?
No, we're just
At
looking.
all?
That's all.
Okay. All right.
No, No change in the grade. The actual dirt surface area back there is already flat and in place. It doesn't need to be excavated. It does need to be leveled a little bit so that basically you don't have 10 storage containers at different heights or variations across that ground area.
Okay, I just know that the river wraps around that back area, so.
Yes, it does. And if you don't have the site plan that we provided to the planning board, we actually show on that and this is based off the original approval, the 50-foot wetland site setback that was denoted on the original approval, and it's at the scale drawing. So if you want to, you can measure out from there to where the actual storage containers would be placed.
Jane, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? The condition of there's a retaining wall right there, right?
There is not. So
That's not where that retaining wall is? That's not where you're putting it? There's a retaining wall?
there's no retaining wall there. The ground from the parking lot just slopes to that dirt area. Now, Alan does have a small plywood.
I think she's talking about, you're talking about the little humps that are down towards the river.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, they catch any erosion.
The erosion?
Yeah, it's big hump. What do you call them? What do you call them?
There's a detention area.
There's
Yeah.
That's in the 50-foot wetland setback there. We're not going anywhere near that.
okay.
Yeah.
So those built things are still there. So that retention area. So there's two, if I remember right, if you walk down off the dirt park, it's a dirt parking area now.
Yep.
There's two, it looks like two retention and detention ridges before you get anywhere
Right.
near the river. And those are still there. We're not impacting those at all.
I have a question for you. You're going from 4 tractor trailers to 10 shipping size containers, and you said they're smaller.
Yes,
They're
they are.
considerably. In terms of material that's stored, what's the difference?
As far as the amount of product,
Yeah,
the amount of product will increase, the size of the
by
trailer.
how much?
Probably about 30%.
Okay.
Because in these containers, they do have to provide aisles and access ways through it, work areas. So that does take out some of that overall space.
Eric, do you remember when they went to zoning board on this?
Yeah.
Were you on the zoning board?
No, I think they came to planning board. I
They
think-
came to zoning board as well. You have your decision.
If I may say something here, that the purpose of this for me, and I run the place, I've been importing the same amount of fireworks every year since I've been here. I'm going to continue to import the same amount of fireworks. This is just going to make it a lot easier to be safe inside the containers. In other words, I'll have a little more space, the same amount of fireworks. Right now, with what I have and what I have coming in, if I have them all in at once, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to have to start putting them in the building, and it's going to just be a hectic situation where I'm going to really have to try to comply with the safety issues that I must adhere to. This is going to alleviate that. If they all come in on the same day, I have a place to put everything.
Eric, I just wanted to show you this. I think you have a copy of that.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And we have no control over when the Chinese are going to build these fireworks. So that's why we're here.
Well, my concern is if there's an accident, God forbid.
Yeah.
And, the fact that you're so close to exit 20 and also a residential area as well. And I guess safety of the residents in the town and travelers in the town are a concern to me. And, I guess I feel like when you say they're in,
Hey,
Luke, you scared me. You say they're in tractor trailers. I think, are they on wheels or are they immobile now?
They're on wheels now, and there's only a thin aluminum shell. These storage boxes are steel.
Well, that
Much
scares
stronger.
me even more because of the shrapnel, should there be
Yeah,
an explosion.
This
I
product,
think it would be the opposite.
this product wouldn't do that.
Okay.
And in lieu of your questions, Madam Chairman, I also provided there's a 4-page safety plan that's part of that submittal. And it includes an emergency response plan for the fire department.
Well, okay.
One of the things, we were going for the state back in 1994, we made the law in 1993. Representative there, and I quote David Welch, he said, "The town fireworks blow up and make a hole. The fireworks I sell will create a fire. That's about all. They don't explode."
Heck of a show.
It would be a good show.
Yeah.
I drive by there every day.
Costly one for me. But again, this is just to give me a little more storage space, so it's not as cramped.
They are consumer fireworks, so they are a deflagration hazard, which means a rapid burning versus a detonation hazard. So
There they go, and they take off. Madam Chairman, I have a question.
Mhm.
So in the March 18th, 2015 approval by the ZBA, condition number 2 states that a maximum of 4 storage containers may be present on the site. How would this impact
Well, it
that?
was a special exception. It's still a special exception to have the containers on the site. So you can ask them to go back to zoning board for,
What, that's my question. I mean,
I would think they would have to. They wouldn't have to.
that's what I'm asking. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
You were on the zoning board.
The containers are temporaries, February 1st to August 1st.
No, Joe Plesser was on, is the signer of this, and I was not on the board.
You were not.
No, because that board
that's fine.
ended at March.
Yeah, and then the planning board's decision, which was subsequent to that, set forth the conditions of the zoning board of adjustment meeting of the 15th. So
Now, with these,
you can send this to zoning board for review for special exception or expansion.
the problem is the zoning board doesn't meet again until January.
Correct.
So they don't meet in December, right?
They don't mean December.
They don't meet in December.
No. So now so my question, I want to take this off so bad. My question is, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can give a conditional approval, then to make them go back to ZBA.
No, you can't. Well, you can, but it puts an undue pressure on another judiciary
Right.
board.
So we should send them back to the ZBA first.
And the only reason I'm doing
Unless you
it is
see this
because-
as a natural expansion, and then it gets into that.
Well, keep going. You caught my attention.
Well, I mean, you can view it as a natural expansion of an existing use, and that doesn't need to be reviewed by zoning board. I mean, it's gray. It's someone can contest it and view it differently, but it gets back into that. It's similar to the Autumn Drive issue of nonconformity. This isn't nonconformity. This is by special exception, but it's been allowed by special
Same
exception.
thing.
But they did put a condition of 4. Is 10 a reasonable expansion of 4? I mean, and the planning board needs to decide whether they feel that that's a natural expansion and agreeable, or something they think the zoning board needs to rule on again.
Well, it's
I'd
kind
like to say something, I'd like to speak.
Mhm.
I'm part owner of this operation. The reason the number 4 is there is because at the time, the fire chief requested that. And because the fire chief requested that, that's the number the zoning board went with. This gentleman here in front of you has been with the state of New Hampshire Fire Marshal's office for 30 some odd years. He's talked to the fire chief. You can see everything in front of you that he's presented. And he has the fire chief's permission to do that because it's a safer situation. That's all I want to say at this point.
Well, the fire chief then and the fire chief now are the same person. So, and I believe the deputy chief is the same person then and the same person.
Jim, what was it, Tim?
Yeah, I
And
believe,
Kim was the deputy then too.
I don't know if he was deputy then, but I know.
he was still the fire prevention officer.
The fire prevention officer, yeah.
Hogan was the chief.
No, Steve Tarr.
I'm sorry?
His current message, number 1, says that the new container padlocks, like implying like the new padlocks on the new containers is he's like implying that additional are going to be there.
Well, that's because they presented to him 10.
Yeah.
But I'm just, the legality.
Right, for the special exception, right, because that's
For the
what the
I think
ordinance.
it needs to go back to zone. Before we have
I don't have a problem with it.
How does the natural expansion work though for the business? Like, so, in terms of, is there a certain percentage they're allowed to grow, or is the product, the amount of the product isn't really going?
It's how it's viewed by the courts and what a natural expansion of a business is and what can be upheld and what can't. So, I mean, I guess until someone took it to court, they could decide differently, but prior cases have been seen of what is a reasonable expansion
I mean, 30%
within
increase.
within an allowance, but
How big are those containers now?
Yeah.
So there are 53-foot tractor trailers.
Right, they're 53 by,
Probably 9 feet is about, I think, the average.
212 in length, but they're higher. What I have now is higher.
That's taller.
These ground containers are gonna be lower,
right, no, I'm just looking for.
less apt to get hit in the
for
head
the
with a
the
watch
delta
that's
between
9
the
feet
4
high.
and 10.
And the safety locks that they're talking about are new
No,
and
that's fine.
improved.
Yeah,
That's why we're gonna get
The
them.
overall height of your trailers, you figure you got
53.
13.6 commercial clearance.
Yeah.
So between wheelbase and then the actual box. And then these are gonna drop to, I mean, we put a little bit bigger on the site plan, but they're approximately 9 by
And then these
probably 9
are,
feet. So that's why I said as far as profile from the street, it's gonna drop.
520s and 540s.
are these 10 wide?
No,
When I look at this, it says proposed 10 foot by 40 foot. Is that
Yes,
10, is that
10
10
foot
wide?
wide. So from outside edge to outside
Yeah.
edge is approximately 10.
So safe to say 9 foot?
Yes,
I'm trying to compare apples to apples.
Yep. absolutely.
I don't understand new math. I use a calculator.
In terms of the square footage from what's there now to what you're proposing to go to, so it was like a 30% increase?
Yes, keep in mind that with the way Alan stores his product in
Exactly.
trailers, we do have to provide for safe alleyways and all that stuff from the front of the trailer to the back. So that's gonna take out the ability to store more product.
Yeah.
As well as they're not gonna go completely to the ceiling, because you don't want this product or its boxes touching,
Exactly.
the metal ceiling on a hot day. So you gotta provide for some space at the top as well. So these aren't packed wall to wall, floor to ceiling.
Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 times 5 is 200. 200 feet.
Are you
That's pretty-
hardwired to the water department's system down there,
So
The
27.
sprinkler system or the fire alarm?
the sprinkler system?
Sprinkler system is off the town water system.
And it's hardwired, right to their pumping station?
Yep, it's off the water main that goes down Route
That's what I
140.
thought.
So
We had a lot of discussion about that when I was the state fire marshal and we approved the building.
the height of the trailer,
Is approximately 9 feet.
no, the current trailer.
Well, you gotta have the wheels to it, so you're gonna be
No,
just
no,
under.
let's just say storage capacity.
Oh, probably 9 to 10 feet. They're
Yeah.
taller, they're taller than the
Same.
average container.
So they're the same, and the proposed ones are 9 feet, so.
The shipping containers are slightly smaller than.
I mean,
the average.
you're adding capacity. I'm gonna talk out loud if I may. May I?
Yeah.
Okay. So just doing some raw math here, you were at about 1,900 square feet of storage capacity. Now you're going about 2,700 square feet of, and I'm just talking flat, I'm not going about, because you said that it's the same, so that's, all it is instead of using a ladder to get up into a trailer or a ramp or something like that, you can walk right in. So I could see, and I'm talking myself out through this, natural expansion, because I've read articles and that the fireworks business is a good business to be in lately.
only in the summer.
No, but it's, yeah, but because of COVID and things like that, people are buying fireworks.
Wow.
Trust me, they shoot them off here. I live here. They're shooting them off all the time. I hear them all the time.
When they ended the 600 a week in August, it was a ghost town.
Okay,
It's terrible.
yeah, but from
Before that, it was great.
June to August, it was pretty good.
Before that, it was great. I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
Now it's a ghost town. But maybe, so
It's less than 100 a day over there on Friday and Saturday. I have trouble staying there.
I know where they are all set off though, right over in our neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
They're not all mine. There's other people.
No,
in the
no, I
state.
know. I'm not, I don't,
Now, Mr. Pyro, too, before I think I know where you're gonna go, I'll add one more part to it. So currently, as Mr. Obi can't predict necessarily when his shipments will arrive.
right,
There are times during the summer now, under the approved use, that Mr. Obi has to call the fire department to get approval to park a semi-trailer in the parking lot for a day or two till he can unload it.
right.
With this expansion, that alleviates that being in the parking lot. It can go right into storage.
I've traveled that way for a year now, so I see a trailer, and I believe they're all gone right now.
Yeah.
You know, are these gonna be there permanently?
No, this is
Same
still
thing.
strictly for the temporary use that the town approved. Really, realistically, the modification is we're going from semi-trailers to shipping containers and the number of them.
I feel the shipping containers are actually safer. It's just having worked where I work, we have airbags that have inflators in them, and those are explosive. And we store them in a shipping container because they're much more safe.
And on July 3rd,
No, I know, but I'm just,
2017, I fell out of a trailer, so, and I broke a rib. I was in the hospital for a day, but it wasn't so safe.
Okay, so I guess the question is, do we send them back to
or is it for natural
before the
expansion?
site plan or after the site plan? Do we send them to the zoning? Fred?
I would say that the way it is okay for the natural expansion if we can go that route. I'm comfortable going that way.
Comfortable going natural expansion.
Todd?
Todd?
Todd? Todd?
It says he's on the call. He's a second line.
Okay.
Maybe he dropped his,
Is there any public?
audio.
Is there any
Is
public?
he sticking, is there any public on?
There is
John?
public.
Yes, public. I'm on.
There's a number of public on.
Okay. All right, Todd, are you still on?
If you don't have time.
Sorry, yeah, it broke up for a bit. I'm here.
Okay, how do you feel about sending them to the zoning board now or after the site plan?
I think it should go to the zoning board.
First? Okay. Eric, do you want to put it in motion? We can take a vote?
Well, my verbiage, I guess, would be different because I don't believe that, I'm going to go with natural expansion.
Okay.
So I guess,
But you're not motioning to approve yet. Are you gonna make a motion just on zoning? Is that what you're gonna do?
well, yeah, I think we'll just make a motion on zone. And so I guess I make a motion that do we have to get public input first before we make any motion?
That'd be during discussion.
Okay. I make a motion that we do not
Waive the
require,
requirement to go back to zoning, is that right?
waive the requirement due to natural expansion to go, that they don't have to go back to the
To
zone.
waive the requirement to be
Yeah.
reviewed by zoning.
Is there a second?
Frederick's got a second.
Frederick, all right. Did you hear that, Todd?
I do, but I get so much feedback. It's so hard.
We're getting,
Yeah.
okay, we have a motion and a second, and I want, any more discussion from the planning board? Do we have
No.
any comments from the public? I know there's a lot of public on. Any comments from the public?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, John Scanlon, I'm just talking to you as a resident in town. I was wondering what the shoreline frontage is on that lot?
50-foot setback.
50-foot setback.
No, the frontage along the river.
Just a minute, we're looking on, to see if it shows on the map.
Well, there's a
I don't
scale.
think it shows. Okay.
1 inch equals 30 feet. You have a ruler? Hold
Hold on, John.
We gotta get an official measuring device.
In my front drawer.
I'm gonna say it's 56 inches.
The scale right here is
Yeah, it's 1 feet equals 30.
1 inch equals 30 feet.
Yeah. That's been a
1
long day.
equals 30 feet.
I haven't had dinner. Oh,
He wants to know how far from where the trailers are going to be to the edge of the water? Is that what he's looking at?
no. This frontage here, let me just put this, I gotta move
You
this.
got it?
Yeah.
Just a minute, John. We're trying to measure.
Okay.
So, Mr. Scanlon, based on. No, that's, yeah. So, according to our measuring device,
That's
about 6.5 inches. Now, based
Times
on
30.
based on the
180.
scale that we're provided on this plan that is dated October 1st, 2020, it's 1 inch equals 30 feet. So that would be 180
Plus.
plus feet,
Yeah.
not over 200, but maybe
Less than
195,
200, John.
maybe 195 if my math is good.
okay. I guess, and what I was looking at is that would be considered a accessory structure, according to DES. And according to DES, you can have 1.5 square feet of, let's see. So if you have a property with 100 feet of shoreline frontage, it's limited to 150 square feet of accessory structure area. So you would be limited to, with those numbers, to 270 square feet of structure area. Would this exceed that?
I don't know the size. I don't know the
Well,
size of the containers.
I mean, based on
But we don't know the size.
calculations I made before, but now, is that within the setbacks or is that on the piece of property?
Oh, on the piece of property, the setback still has to be at least 20 feet. So you still have to be 20 feet from the reference line, which is the, as well, I think you're beyond that, but it's the high water mark, I guess.
We're over, you have on this plan, there's a 50-foot setback, wetland setback line. And again, measuring device, again, it's not professional. I'm taking what I believe would be looking at the plan, the left-hand end box, the short box. I'm taking that corner, go into here. Oh, Fred. Yeah, we're about 75 feet beyond the 50-foot setback.
Okay. And regardless of the setback, so that's not an issue, but the conditions of accessory, let's see.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is that within, so that's not within the waterfront buffer?
For an accessory dwelling, though, if it's not a permanent situation where it's not there for a long.
Well, this is a temporary structure that's only open up for a few months of the year.
Would you consider trailers a structure?
Yeah. Accessory to structures are defined in the law RSA 483-B as structures that are incidental or subordinate to the primary structure or use of a property. In most cases, a residential dwelling is the primary structure, and decks are not considered accessory structures. They're considered an extension of the primary structure. Accessory structures include paths, driveways, patios, improved surfaces, pools, pump houses, gazebos, woodsheds, garages, and other outbuildings. Fences and other structures that are not maintained in a permanent fixed location, such as tents, picnic tables, lawn furniture, are not considered accessory structures. The size, so, and that was my concern, is that it might exceed that ruling by DES on a waterfront or property that has shoreline.
Can you go back? You said you were defined tents and something else in your, what you were reading?
RSA.
The RSA?
Yeah, the definitions are 483-B.
Yeah, but I don't have that in front of
We
me.
don't have the RSA in front of us.
Yeah.
I'll let you read this if you want. This is the accessory structure regulation.
But you said
But that's within the.
temporary, are these considered temporary? Because they're only up from,
6 months. The approval's 6 months, but in fact, they're there less than that.
so they're there less than half the year. They're 6 months.
So, and how many feet is that from the,
You're supposed to remember that. 175 approximately.
yeah, and how many feet from the shoreline, the reference mark?
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Probably close to 100. 100 or more.
75 beyond the 50.
Yeah,
We're
please.
beyond the 50.
Okay.
We are 30, 60, 75 feet from the 50 foot. So we would be 125 foot from the wetland boundary.
Okay, so it appears that that would not apply. So that answers my question. So there'll be no disturbance of the regrading of the parking lot within the buffer?
No.
No.
Excuse me, I'd like to just add something.
Sure.
These trailers are exactly in the location, already site plan approved, this block or second building. Where these boxes are going to be sitting are in the foundation area of a plan that's already approved by this planning board.
Sure, I realize that. The other thing is where it's increasing from 4 up to the other, I think it should go back to zoning to have them reconsider. It's a pretty substantial increase over what was originally allowed.
And that's what.
That's it. Just comments.
All right, any more comments from the public? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of not sending it back, is that how you,
Waiving.
not sending it back to zoning immediately, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Alden, no.
Todd?
Todd? Todd?
I don't think you can.
Somebody's unmuted.
Todd?
I'm here.
All right, we're voting yay or nay.
To waive the requirement to go back to
Yeah.
zoning.
Yeah, go back to zoning, please.
So your answer would be no.
No, okay, so it's a tie.
Correct.
Fails.
So it fails, okay,
So they have to go back to zoning.
so you're gonna have to go back to zoning.
Okay.
Okay,
So you have to file a special exception, and they'll just review it again for the same criteria for special exception to increase it from
Oh,
4 to
wait,
10.
since we have a calendar here.
Do we have to come back here after that?
And then you will return here.
So they would come to the January 19th
Zoning,
zoning.
and then they can come to the January 27th, 26th here. Then you could come the following week back
and they
here.
got those summer, so now.
Well, no, they start February 1st.
I'm sorry, Mr. Parker, can you give me the date again?
So ZBA would be January 19th, 2021.
And your following meeting after that?
It's the following week.
The following week, the 26th.
Thank you.
You can check the website for the deadlines to get that paperwork into zoning. We'll have to do a butter notices again. Okay.
And check with Leanne to find out if we're remote or not. Because
By
we're taking this
January,
like a 2-week chunk. Because
Hopefully, we won't be.
I have a question.
the mask mandate ends the 15th at current.
Right now, the ground is not frozen. Ground may be frozen when we're talking about this. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult to get things perfectly level. Would it be okay if we level it now?
That's our right to do.
I mean, I'm asking them out of courtesy. I, don't want to do anything behind their back. I want to make it perfectly smooth now.
It's not like,
You're leveling what? Leveling
right.
dirt? It's just
It's just dirt, yeah. It's just dirt. It slopes towards the river
It's
very
actually,
slightly,
I don't think we can stop that.
but I just want to,
That's not
You don't want someone to see you working thinking you did it or.
I don't want to do something behind your back.
I guess that would be like, the biggest example is up on Route 3 at the intersection of Silver Lake Road. Across the street, we had the local company that was renovating the building. They started the work before it was approved by planning board. That's the risk that they took, was to do that.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't do it, then they wasted some money. So
You know what? I would just say as a courtesy, can you let us know when you're going to begin that? And I will have our code enforcement officer maybe just go out and do a site visit and just.
When you want to
Okay.
start that, you see the man right there, he's gonna level it out, I think right away.
All right, I'm just going to have the code enforcement officer get in touch with you and you can just show him what you're going to be doing so he's aware of any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if any
Yeah, we'll
questions
next
come in,
week. I'll
he
get
knows
one out
what's
next
going
week.
on.
We're just gonna tell them, we just want to make everything perfectly level because
And you're working outside of that buffer, right? So you're
Yeah.
not-
I have no idea what the Chinese are gonna have for me this year.
It literally is basically doing landscaping, because there's
Yeah, that's-
there's a rock pile there.
And you're not affecting the
And the deadline is the
river or
first.
anything.
I'm gonna do my trailers in May, but I always do, and sometimes they come in December.
Deadline is January 1st. for this
Okay, and
one.
right now,
Thank you, Lynn.
the way it is, when they come, you better
Thank you, guys.
take them.
Thank you for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You better off to get that out of the way before, instead of going through everything and then coming to us, so.
Thank you.
Luke, 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 okay.
Hey, Luke. Luke. Come here, buddy.
He comes right up to me and with your bread.
Hey, Luke.
Luke, he's okay. He's sleeping.
Yeah, it looks like I want to leave too.
I know, he hasn't had his dinner. He's taking
He's
his.
all right.
Okay, we have one more thing tonight.
Tesla.
Tesla.
So,
And then, I got something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
is that this one here? All right, hold on.
All right, the next one we have is Tesla, and I think they're gonna be remote.
Yeah, they should be. Mr. Edward Noseworthy, are you online?
Hi, yes, we're here. Can you hear me?
I can hear
We
you.
can.
Great.
Hold on, just 1 second.
Do we have stuff for them?
Yeah, well, they did a change of use
Oh, here it is.
application, and then you had their whole packet last time, and I have it if you need it again.
Yeah, that is well.
I
Oh, wait,
I think Janice put,
so it's a continuation, right? Or is this?
well,
change
I
of use.
spoke with you, remember, and
We
asked,
talked about it.
this is just to put the charging stations. Were you here? Oh, you weren't here last week, Eric.
No, I was
Mr.
not.
Scanlon was here.
No, Joe Jesselman was here.
Oh, Joe Jesselman was here, right. So this is to put the charging stations at 65 Laconia Road. I asked the board if they came in for a building permit, electrical permit. And I asked the board if they wanted to see a review, and the decision was them to do it. Actually, was Mr. Jesselman felt that it was a change of use for the site because they were putting the Tesla charging stations in. So we had them do that. And they're here to answer questions, and I don't know what you have in your packet.
Oh, I'm just looking at James.
Okay.
Just gave it to him.
Okay, so there is an overview of the site. This is the site where next to the Tilton Diner.
This is where Dunkin' Donuts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Upper Crust.
And if you have this, Eric, it will show you where the pin is where the, you have that?
I do.
Okay. And that's the old site plan that you have, the copy of in front of
Yeah,
you?
the building hasn't changed.
Right,
The occupancy. Okay.
right.
I don't have a pin though. on
This one has a, you can have this if you want.
No, just show me where the pin is.
The pin is right,
The right side there?
yeah, right here.
Oh, that side.
Right by the grass, because they're gonna put the transformer in the grass.
I think you just pointed something.
No, I-
There. So it would be on the Staples side of the building.
Correct, on the Staples side of the building, and then the
Okay.
transformer's going.
So did you point it at the Franklin
sorry.
Savings Bank? I'm like, oh, that would be no, at that point.
And here, and then you weren't here last week. They got this.
All right.
It shows, this is their building.
Yeah, I work in the building.
And then, see, you want to put them here.
Okay, thank you. Go for it.
Did they mention who would own the,
We can ask them how their lease is gonna
So-
work with. I know that they have these on the site
Not my sheet, but I don't think-
in Hooksett on the,
We're just looking at your things, Mr. Noseworthy.
Yep, that's great. And I'm happy to provide a high level overview if that's helpful as well. Let me know.
Yeah, now that I know where on that property they're gonna put them. So it's 8 spaces, you said, 1, 2, 3.
9, I think. I thought, was it,
There's 9 spaces
Yeah,
there.
9, that's what I thought.
It's 8 spaces, yes, 8 charging posts.
8
Okay.
charging posts, okay.
There's plenty of space there. So
Well, I guess we're really trying to figure out if it's change of use or not, or are we beyond that?
well, I think the issue was brought up again by Mr. Jessman, whether this was a change of use, because now it's gonna become charging stations and fees paid, so the use changes from parking to charging stations, I guess.
parking to parking.
I don't know.
Well,
For utility, it's a utility, I guess, is,
here's my, again, I'm gonna talk out loud. There's no one shut me up tonight, so.
I might.
that was tough.
Yeah, but I have a mute. Oh, I can mute you.
I'm closer to him. I can
Yeah,
just
you
kick-
can. You certainly can.
I can just kick him.
Go ahead, talk.
So if,
You have to talk faster.
no, I know. So if another property, let's say, TD Bank, right up there on Market Street, wanted to throw in a couple charging stations in their parking lot. Is that a change of use?
well, are they charging for it or are they?
No, they're building, are these being charged for? Are these free? I don't know. If I have Mr. Ellsworthy, if I have a Tesla, which I don't, and I want to charge my Tesla, and I pull up, am I going to be charged to charge my car?
Yeah, so
oh,
I'm getting
go
some
ahead.
feedback here when I'm talking, but it depends on, when you bought your car, what car you bought. Some of our customers bought their cars when we were providing deals for free supercharging. Some of our cars are grandfathered in and they have free supercharging for life. And some of our customers do pay. So it's kind of a mix and match.
Okay. So it's clear as mud on that issue. So if I'm driving up 93 and I pull off at the rest area there in Hooksett, there's a bunch of charging stations there.
That's correct, yeah.
So some people are charged for those, some people are not charged for those. Correct?
Correct. Correct.
I work at a building, I have a part-time job up north, that we have a bunch of Tesla charging stations, and I don't know if we don't charge for them, but I don't know. Again, I don't drive a Tesla. But it's we got a lot of Teslas up there, up in Lincoln. And they're always full.
Really?
Yep, and that was but that was put in as part of a project
As was the Hooksett ones.
as with the Hooksett ones. And I am drawing a blank at an area that now I know in some of the state liquor stores, they put in, I don't know if they were Tesla charging stations, but they put in charging stations because I know in Nashville, it made the press because they were closer than the handicap spaces. But I don't think it was a change of use. They were added after the building was built. And I know that's the state, but I'm sure knowing how our liquor store is owned by someone in the state liquor commission rents that.
Right, because the use is still
But
as a
this is
parking
Dunkin'
spot.
Donuts, this isn't the state liquor.
No, I know, but I'm just.
Yeah, and just to add a bit more color too, if it's helpful. So, our intent is to incorporate charging into our customers' daily life. The Dunkin' Donuts in the diner provides a great amenity, and the idea behind it is to, if they wanted to grab a coffee or a snack, which they would do in their normal daily routine, now they have a place to charge while they're there for a few minutes.
So they can either park or charge, depending on what they're driving.
Right.
Well, you have to park in order to charge, yes.
No, I'm trying to make it simple. You can either go to Dunkin' Donuts and park your car, or you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and park your car and charge it at the same time while you're having your coffee, depending on what kind of car you drive.
Exactly.
Right.
I think these are the first things, because we don't have,
I know.
I only know of one charging station in Tilton, and that's at the Hampton Inn.
Oh, there is one there?
Yep. I don't know if they still use it, but they did. I don't think it's a Tesla.
They didn't come before us.
But I think that might have been part of it. I think that was put in after.
Like that, you can't.
There is two at AutoServe as well.
Oh,
that
so
people.
So AutoServe didn't come to us for a change of use?
No, I believe that was part of the build out when they put Nissan in.
Yeah, you just beat me to that.
Granite State Credit Union also has one on 140.
And I don't think that was.
And they didn't come to us, and they.
Well, that was part of it. I remember that was part of their plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can, can change to the site as, I guess.
I guess my next question is, do those count as parking spaces in the overall scheme of this building? Whatever.
Well, nobody's going to tell you can't park there, I'm sure.
No.
It's not going to be a sign that says do not park here, is there?
So we have our charge posts and parking signs that let our customers know that charging is available, but we don't police our stalls or tow cars or anything.
So that's the answer. It's a parking space, basically. So it's not change of use, in my opinion.
Well, and I can also tell you that the one that we have at AutoServe gets used maybe once every 2 months.
Okay.
It's because he's not a Tesla dealer.
Nobody makes
well,
it up.
No, but VW and Nissan, they all have cars that are electric.
But I think they have different plugs.
So
nope, they're the same. They're universal.
Can we take one step beyond the actual charging stations? Because I understand this was just one of the planning board's opinions at the last meeting was that it was a change of use. Also, just to be aware, and maybe Mr. Noseworthy can expand on it a little bit. So the charging stations are going to go where is indicated on the plan, and then there's going to be a couple transformers, correct, in the grassy area, just opposite where that parking is, right? And then
yeah, just one transformer from Eversource to provide our new electric service to feed the post. Yes.
Well, the transformer, there was another a switching, or was there another?
Yeah, so we have our charge posts, an electric transformer that Eversource provides us, and then we have a couple pieces of equipment. One is the switchgear, which is similar to the panel in your house. It kind of handles all the circuit breakers and the branch circuit wiring. And then also directly behind the curb line in that existing landscaped area are what we call our supercharger cabinets. So the purpose of those two cabinets is to handle the AC to DC rectification. The cars naturally have a DC battery, and the grid from Eversource provides AC voltage. So the AC to DC rectifiers rectify that voltage so that the car is able to accept it. So that is the purpose of that equipment that you see behind the curb line there in the landscaping.
Right, and then you're going to get the power from an existing pole, you said, right, that's out there?
Yep, we've already met with Eversource, and they've given us the design about maybe 50 feet away. There's an existing utility pole where we'll be tagging off the primary power and installing our transformer.
Okay, so you'll be running a line out there, and then I think I spoke to you a little bit about the access road.
Yeah, so that is one thing that it's actually going to be less work than we thought. So when Eversource had originally given us their design, they had been out there in the winter, and they hadn't been out there in a long time, and they had asked us to provide, it's kind of like heavy brush there. So they had asked us to provide a clear pathway to the pole. But we were just out there last week, and now that everything's cleared away, there's actually a wide open clear path that's maintained to the utility pole. So that you kind of enter from the Dunkin' Donuts. So we don't even have to provide that clearing. It's already there. They have full and wide open access to the utility pole, so that if they need to do anything to maintain that utility pole down the line, they have that access.
Okay.
I got one more question, just gonna look at the original plan.
Yep.
Is there still a well out there?
So we did perform a survey, and it did uncover a well, but none of our equipment is over it or will interfere with it. So our equipment is intentionally kind of moved off to the side so that it's not an issue. I believe you can see that if you look at page, if you have our plans in front of you, C3, you'll see it behind our parking stalls, again, behind the curb line, close to where the existing light pole is.
Okay. Well, it's kind of close to the well.
Yeah, we maintain the 3-foot clearance that we do if we typically run into a well on site, but I mean, we could push it over a bit more if that makes you, to your liking, or if that's what you require.
I think it's fine. That's what they require.
I thought you had to be further away from the well, but my only question is the well. Other than that, I don't see.
Yeah, that's what we've always maintained. These are our engineered stamp plans and full survey. So like I said, it's an easy fix to push it over a couple feet if that's what you require, but that's kind of what we've done historically in the past and kind of have run with.
And in terms of ownership, does Tesla own the actual units, or is it the owner of the property that owns them? Or are they leasing to own, or?
Yeah, Tesla. So Tesla invests in all this infrastructure and the equipment, and we own and operate it as well.
Do you guys maintain it as well?
So
we maintain it as well. Yes, correct.
So you pay rent to or the owner of the property gets a percentage of the revenue generated? So
we have Trevor Smith on from our real estate team. He can answer.
This is Trevor Smith with Tesla. So, I mean, we like to keep our agreement with the property owners confidential in nature, but I would say the driving force behind this is the kind of market and competitive advantage that these stations bring. So I know a previous member had mentioned only a few people use it, their station maybe once a month. In Hooksett, we have thousands, if you add up both northbound and southbound, thousands of Tesla owners utilizing those charging stations. So the Dunkin' Donuts, the property owner who owns that Dunkin' Donuts sees the kind of business opportunity to differentiate themselves from other exits and other competitive cafes and amenities along that 93 stretch to kind of secure and attract our audience. So I think that's really the driving force behind all of our agreements, is that kind of volume and foot traffic and exposure that our brand and our stations bring.
Any comments or questions from the planning board? And then members
Yes,
of the,
Madam Chair?
yes, is this Mr. Scanlon?
Yes, Mr. Scanlon is speaking.
Wait till I open
Um,
it to the public. Mr. Scanlon, would you please wait till I open it to the public?
Okay, sorry about that.
Any other, Todd, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm not against it at all. I was just making the point that we don't get a lot of use. I think it's great. Green energy and all of that is great. So I'm not against it at all.
Thank you. And now I will open it up to the public, Mr. Scanlon.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure, I don't have a copy of the actual plans and site plans for that in front of me, but I'm very familiar with that area. The strip between Franklin Savings Bank and the diner, as you can, I'm not sure if that's where they're being located.
No, John, it's if you go through, if you drive through Dunkin' Donuts, as you start to drive out, they're over to the, they would be over to your right.
On the side by the.
On the side.
The Staples side of the building, not the bank side of the building.
Yes.
Staples. Oh, so like behind the 20, the kiosk for the teller?
No. If you were driving out of Dunkin' Donuts, you turn the corner, you go to the drive-through window at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
You turn that corner, right there, on to the right.
So if you're facing the building to go in the entrance, it's the furthest to the left, if you're facing the front
Yes.
doors of those businesses. So furthest away from
Dunkin'
Tilton
Donuts.
Diner, so it's on that side. There's a bank of 10 parking spots on that side. And
So
it's all
in the diner parking lot, sort of?
John,
away
in
from-
Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
Okay. One of my concerns, and I'm not sure if, the plan show, you could look for me. All through that area, there was very carefully laid out wetlands because of, when it was originally developed to allow for the runoff from the different parking lots to be treated with, through grassy areas and that. Would this go into any of those areas or any disturbance in any of those?
No,
So, sorry.
it's already a paved area. It's no change at all.
Okay, I heard discussion of something being located behind the electrical charging stations in the grassy area.
Yeah, that's a transformer.
A transformer.
It's
And
probably we can tell you how big it is.
do you have a map of the wetlands in that area?
Yeah, so I can help answer this. So we perform on all of our engineered stamp designs a full up-to-date survey. We look at all the GIS mapping with the wetlands, and we are not in any wetlands or any boundary of wetlands with these existing existing paved stalls or where our equipment is, which is directly behind the curb line of the stalls. So that is shown clearly on our survey, and I'm happy to forward that to you after the call if that's helpful.
I think the planning board can take a look at it, and they're good at that. I'm in favor. This is a great move forwards towards our future in some non-fossil fuel energy. That was my only concern, is that those grassy areas are intended to treat runoff before it goes into the brook over there and the other wetlands.
Okay, thank you, John. Any other comments? All right. Then I'll make a motion to treat this as not a change of use. Does that make sense?
Or simply make a motion, no site plan review is required.
Yeah, we can do that. But then I'll make a motion that no site plan review is required. Is there a second?
I have a second.
All in favor? Roll call vote, Alden, yes?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And now should I make a motion for the Oh, we don't have to do a site visit. Okay, that takes care of it.
Right.
All
The
right.
change you should do is to see
I
if we
know,
move this,
I
right?
know.
Okay.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And if I could just ask the board, as far as next steps, will an official decision be sent over, and then we could go ahead and apply for permits, or just to try to understand next steps?
Yeah, I'll send you something that the board motioned, the no site plan review is required, and then I will let Mr. LaPlante know that he can move forward with your permit.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Okay, the next order of business is other business. And I have a couple of things. Number one, I don't know whether any of you have read but the back and forth about Gaslight Village and plantings there. For those of you who are on the planning board, when we
White
agreed,
Rock, you're talking about,
I mean,
right?
White Rock, not Gaslight, White Rock. When we agreed to let them put in the solar, we talked about, and there was quite a discussion because we had abutters who were in here. We talked about plantings, and the whole purpose of those plantings was to hide the view. And what has happened, I won't go into all the detail about it, but what has happened is that there have been plantings made there. As a matter of fact, there are 8 plantings, and I have pictures of them. 10. I only counted 8, maybe 2 of them.
Okay.
But anyway, they look like dead bushes, quite frankly. I've got pictures of them I can pass around for those of you who are here. And I guess they thought they were planting one thing, which would be a cover and an evergreen, but it's not. And I don't find it satisfactory. And I just wanted to bring it up to find out how the rest of you feel about it. Let me find the pictures and send them around. Okay? That's the way it looks. That's the road.
Well, I think it's hard to get Todd's opinion.
Well, it is, but there's still 3 of us.
Well, it's not fair to Todd, he's a member of the board.
Well, I can text these to you, Todd. I'll send you.
I think I sent out pictures anyway to everyone.
Did you get the pictures, Todd?
Ted signed off? If Ted signed off, we don't have a meeting anymore because we're no longer.
Oh.
I thought you can leave a meeting if you're in.
If he leaves a meeting, you don't have a quorum anymore.
We don't have.
But,
Well, we weren't gonna vote on anything anyway.
during that meeting, we did talk about them having
Yeah.
evergreens.
And we talked about arborvitae,
Exactly.
because I'm big on arborvitae because they grow so fast. and
Exactly.
They hide everything.
Who's
Those
above
are
Scanlon?
Who's above Scanlon?
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie.
So I did send the information from the, I don't want to call him a developer, but the person that was doing the solar and the ones that put in those plantings, explaining what the plantings were and that they had spoken to the state, that information. So maybe we'll bring all that forward and the minutes of the meeting. We want to make this an agenda item and how we
Okay.
want to move forward, rather than just, like Eric said, with everyone here. And then decide how the board wants to go forward with this. We'll wait and see in the spring what it looks like and before we start putting out plants. I mean, I don't know, it's up to the board.
Okay.
Give it-
We'll-
They're already
we'll
in.
bring-
and-
We'll bring that since we don't have a quorum anymore. And the only other thing I wanted to bring up, which is that someone had sent an email saying they hadn't gotten minutes of the meeting, and they hadn't found the minutes on the website. Well, they weren't on there because we just got the minutes tonight. There was a technical problem last time, so we do get the minutes as soon as we just hadn't had planning board meetings because we didn't have quorums or it was election one night. There were several times there when we couldn't have a meeting. So the minutes are up to date, number one. Number two, if you think that you're not getting minutes or information from the planning board, please, please, please let Leanne know, because I went back and checked every single thing that I have gotten as chair of the planning board. Everybody else on the planning board has gotten. So if you feel like you haven't gotten something, please let Leanne know as soon as you realize that. and Leanne can resend it. I mean, strange things can happen. I suddenly got knocked off Google tonight. Don't ask me how, but.
All right, and Fred had a wrong email address in one of the groups that was being used in correspondence. So we've since straightened Fred out. And yeah, and again, minutes, we haven't had meetings. That's why there's no minutes in September, because we haven't met. So again, I agree. Please, if you have any questions, we're always here. Janice or I, please direct the questions to us. We're happy to provide anything. We're all just trying to look through.
Okay. And so I guess since Todd's gone on, it's appropriate we'll carry everything else forward to the next meeting.
Madam Chair?
Well,
You didn't do the minutes though.
Oh, I thought we weren't going to.
Oh, you want to table minutes?
I have to apologize. I got knocked off for a little bit, so I missed some stuff. But
the only thing I said, we're going to bring one forward, and that's on the I keep wanting to say Gaslight. White Rock Village, the plantings, we need to look at those more closely because they're not, right now, they don't seem appropriate, but we're going to talk about that at a later meeting. The other thing is if you're not getting minutes, or if you don't find the minutes for the meetings on the website, call Leanne and let her know right away. Because somebody had said that they weren't getting different things in email. And I went back and everything I've gotten had been sent to everybody. So Todd, if you seem to be missing something, please let Leanne know as soon as you think you are. Okay?
okay. Yep.
And so the next thing, the last thing we have then are the minutes from the last meeting we had. So if you have those in front of you, would you please review them carefully?
Which I wasn't there for, so.
The minutes of November 10th.
I was not there either.
Oh, well, we can't. We
You
can't
can
approve
table
them.
them, give everyone time to look at them. That's
Okay.
fine. You can table them. They're
Okay.
available if people need them.
All right, well, then we're gonna wait and have those at the next one. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair,
Yes, John.
is there time for public comment on other business?
Well, if you would like to make some comment, yes.
Yeah, I have a concern on the White Rock. The planning board made a decision, voted on it, and made a motion that they would install the arborvitae's, and Eric asked for it to be also on the eastern entrance. And I would just, if I can just finish this up real quick. And that was a decision by the planning board. Is that allowed to be overridden? And is that now considered complete, the White Rock?
We're gonna discuss it.
John, we just talked about that. I just brought it up. We're going to wait until another time to discuss it when we have more planning board members present.
And we're gonna bring the information from them.
And we're gonna bring the information just not everybody is here to discuss it. It cannot be overridden. We're gonna discuss it and we're going to try to resolve the issue.
Okay, so their job is not complete.
As far as I'm concerned, it is not. And I think as far as other members of the planning board are concerned, it is not.
Okay, thank you.
As long as you have these members of the planning board, we will not drop it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Eric seconded, Jane and Eric.
Todd, it'll be nice to see you again one of these days.
I'll be in. My life's been nuts for the last month and a half.
I think everybody's has been, you know.
And Todd, thank you for attending so we could have quorum. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
No problem.
All right, we'll see you at Dunkin' Donuts when we're charging our Teslas.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Fred.
All right. Have a good night.
You want to keep it just like that?
Yeah, just add whatever.
Okay, just keep it.
And here's my empty one. I'm gonna go through it and
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I have.
when it comes.
Is pregnant Fred? Come on.